Hello and welcome back to a new video by the Devscorch platform. My name is Johan and I will be your host in this video. Okay, so in this series we have been starting to build the API for Devscorch Academy, and in the last video we actually have set up Vapor and we have set up like the project tree or the project overview. And yeah, in this video we're actually going to start building some models and some field keys. Okay, so the whole idea about the model is actually that you create like a data model, so that you actually have like a nice model of data which you can actually use in the database. We're going to models. I'm going to do a new file and we're going to call this the user model, and in there import the Vapor. We're going to do import Fluent. We're going to do final class of user model, and this is going to be model. I'm going to open this one up, and we're also going to create an extension of user model, and this is going to be content. So this actually allows us later to return a user model instead of like custom information. So okay, so now we have the final class. We go to field keys and we're actually going to create a new file there. We're going to call this the user model field keys. So when you see me coding, I actually like to code really declarative. So I actually like to declare everything and what I'm doing. Or not declarative, maybe you could actually say descriptive. Because now when somebody else looks at my code and they are looking for the user model field keys, they actually know this is the field keys for the user model. So in here, we're going to do import Fluent. In here, we're going to do an extension user model. And there we're going to create a struct called field keys. And in here, we're going to add the information. So let me open up the model really quick. Okay, so what we're going to need static var of name. This is going to be a field key. And this actually returns name. Okay, so a field key is actually like the key that we're going to use for the database field. And what this means is that, so for example, when we have a database and the field of name, so the field that actually contains the name of the user, is going to be called name. Okay, and the reason why we declare it here is actually because it makes it easier for us. It makes it easier for us to make certain changes when we need to. So we're actually going to use the field keys. We're actually going to use them inside the user model, and later we're also going to use it inside the user migration. So that's actually really important. And instead of like writing them all ourselves everywhere, we can actually write them one time here, and we can actually reuse them whenever we need them, right? Okay, so static var username. Going to be field key. Going to be username. Static var email is going to be a field key as well. Static var password, field key. So just make sure that you're actually using the field key instead of field keys. So static var city. So we're actually going to give some extra information that the user can actually add if they want to. And we're going to make most of these things we're actually going to make optional, so users are not forced to share the information with us if they don't want to. Postal code, field key. Okay, so after address, we're going to add the country, field key. So in the next few videos, we're actually only going to create the field keys and the models. This is probably going to be really boring. But I think it's actually really necessary in that we can actually, what I can actually do if we wanted to, I could actually just write one field key and then skip everything and go really fast. But I'm not going to do that, because I actually think that it's good practice to build this together with you guys. So we're going to need a role. This is going to be a field key. So the role is actually going to be the user role. So admin or student or registered, for example. So then we have the subscription that's active. Oh, wait a second. Till, sorry. So till. Then we're gonna do subscription active till. Okay. Static var my courses. There's going to be a field key as well. So the whole idea about the my courses is actually that people can actually use the my courses variable to actually add the courses they are working on. Static var bio. So if somebody actually wants to add some more information about themselves, they can actually do that. And we're going to add static var completed courses, field key, completed courses, static var, created add. This is going to be field key, created add, and updated that. So static var updated add, going to be field key, updated add. Okay, so the last two variables, created add and updated add. The moment the user is created, we're actually gonna update the created add date. But the moment somebody updates it, we can actually also say like, okay, so you updated your account last night. We want to update it again, and this way the user can actually make sure that they actually give like, what do you call it? That they can actually make sure that they see when they updated something and stuff like that, right? Okay, so now we have the field key. Now we can actually open up a second editor. In here we're going to call the user model. And as you can see, it actually complains. Sure. Okay. Oh, we don't need that one. So we have a static var of schema. So the schema, that's actually the schema of the database. So that is something we need to do first. So let's go to enums, new file. And then we're going to call this schema enum. Under there, enum, schema enum. This is going to be of string. We can open that one up. So the first one is case users, case courses, case guides, case sessions, case articles. Okay, so the moment when we actually create a new database, on the first initial launch, we actually have to add like case, or we actually have to add in schema. So we can say like, okay, the schema is users or courses or guides. In this way, the schema is actually created inside the database, so it's actually nice and ordered, right? So after this one, equal to, we're going to call schema enum dot users dot raw value. And with this one, we go back to the field keys, just like this. We can actually get rid of this one because we don't need that side. Okay, so the next one is going to be ID, just like this, and then var ID over UUID question mark. So the ID is actually an option, theoretically an optional value, and it's actually automatically generated by the system. And we give this an optional because we don't need to add it we actually don't need to add it when we actually create the user. Okay, so the next one, what we're gonna do is add optional field. Optional field. I'm gonna open this one up, the key, and that's gonna be field keys dot name, just like this. Var name is equal to a string and optional. So there is a difference. We have an optional field and a field, and I actually make almost everything optional because it's actually easier to work with, and you can actually enforce adding the information anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. But I actually want to give the users the choice of saying like, okay, I want to give you my name, right? So we don't force them to actually share information they don't want to share with us. Key field keys dot last name var last name. Gonna be a string. And to be completely honest, I don't think it's good practice to save more user information than you actually need, because with all those hacking these days and all the database leaks, why would you risk it, right? Okay, so add optional field key, and the key is going to be email, so we're going to do field keys dot email var email is going to be a string. Add optional field key field keys. So this is actually a problem, because the email, we can make this an optional field. This actually has to be a field, so we're actually going to make this not an optional string. And the reason why is we actually need the email to log in, right? Because we're actually going to let the user log in with the email address instead of the username. So field keys dot, let me see, password. So password is also not an optional field, so we're actually going to make this a normal field. Var password is going to be a string. Then add optional field key field keys dot, going to be the city. Var city going to be a string. Add optional field key field keys field keys dot postal code. Var postal code gonna be a string. So as stated before, when you are like saving or storing information, for example, normal information like this, there's actually, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't mind storing information like this because it's actually not that hard, or it's actually not that dangerous. But when you are like storing like information like payment information, you really have to be careful with that, because that's actually really scary. So I'm actually someone who doesn't do that. I'm not going to store any payment information. I'd rather have Stripe actually storing that for me, safer. And I actually don't have the risk of getting sued when I get hacked, for example. Optional field key field keys dot then we have the role. So this is a different one. We can't make this an optional, so we're actually going to change this to field, because the user actually needs to have a value as a role. So this is going to be role enum. So the problem is we don't have the role enum yet, so let's go to enums. Then we're going to create a new file, fifth file, and we're going to call this role enum. And there, import. Now we don't have to import anything. So enum role enum of type string. So we have different kinds of roles, right? So we have the admin, and then we have the student, and we have the registered, just like this. So what this actually means, when you're an admin you can do everything, when you're a student you can only do the stuff a student can do, and when you're registered you only have access to free stuff, right? That's a little bit the idea. So in here we can actually call role enum dot raw value, and let me see. So now the subscription is active till, so add optional field. Field keys dot subscription is active till var subscription is active till, and this is actually going to be date. So we're actually going to take the date that is actually posted inside the database, and we're actually going to create a listener function later that's actually going to listen. And when the user's date is over, it's actually gonna change the student role back to the user role, to the registered role. But to be completely honest, I still have to see how we're gonna do this, because it wouldn't be really, how to call it, good practice if you're actually gonna query every user all 10,000 times a day to check if the subscription is still active. So maybe we actually have to create like a model for this, okay? So what we can do, add optional field. It's gonna be key, field keys, and that's gonna be my courses. So var courses, and it's actually gonna be of UUID, add optional field. Key field keys dot bio, var bio is going to be a string, optional field, key, and it's going to be completed courses. So field keys dot completed courses, var completed courses, and this is going to be of UUID. And maybe later we're actually going to change this to course model with ID value, but we have to check that. I don't know yet. So after that we can actually call something new, and this is the timestamp. So the timestamp is an optional value that's actually made for what we are doing now. So field keys dot created at on dot create var created at, gonna be a date of question mark, and last but not least add timestamp key on field keys dot updated at, this is gonna be dot update var updated at, it's also gonna be an optional date. Okay, so let's create an initializer. And let's see if we can actually let this generate automatically. This doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. No, it doesn't this time. Okay, so first we need like an empty initializer. After that, I'm going to create a new initializer. And this is actually the initializer we're going to use for registering like the user, right? Invalid redeclaration of init. Yeah, I know. Okay, so what we can do, let's say they need a username. So username is gonna be a string, and we have the that's actually gonna be optional. And we can actually do email, it's gonna be a string. Password, it's gonna be a string. And our role is going to be role enum dot raw value. Then we can do self dot username is equal to username, self dot email equal to email, self dot password equal to password, self dot role is equal to role. Okay, so this is actually really cool. So this is actually the initializer which we're going to use when we want to create a new user. And now we're going to create the next initializer. This is actually the initializer which we're going to use when we want to update or want to patch something. Okay, so ID. You know what? We don't really need the ID. We don't need to initialize that one actually, because it's going to be auto-generated anyway, and we don't really need to worry about it, I think. Okay, so we're gonna have the name, gonna be a string, Oh, we actually have to add here one more thingy, and that's actually the created add. Comma, created add. It's gonna be of type date. And we don't really do, you know what, let's add updated add as well. So we can already give that a value on initial registration, right? Self.created add equal to created add. Self.updated add equal to updated add. Okay. After that, now we're going to add all the information that we allow to update. So name string, then we have last name string. Then we have the username, name. We already know username is going to be a string as well. Okay, so let me see. We actually started like working with fields instead of optional fields. But we can actually change this back to an optional field. Like this. Because we're actually gonna force the user anyway to give us the information. In this case, the password. Theoretically, we can make this an optional field because it actually makes it easier to update everything. Yeah, let's make this an optional field as well. Then we have the role. We're gonna make this not an optional field because the user is not allowed to update this. And for the rest, that's okay. So after that, we have the name, last name, username, we have the email. It's going to be a string. Then we have password. Password, that's going to be a string. Then we have city, it's going to be a string. Then postal code, it's going to be a string. And address, going to be a string. As you can see, we work with a lot of strings. This is purely because it's easy to work with and it's actually easy to manipulate. Then we have the country, it's going to be a string. So I'm actually still looking into this in the front end. Are we going to give them a picker view that they have to pick, but they can actually add the name themselves? Because it's actually something that I find really annoying sometimes. Okay, let me see. So after country, we have the role, but we're not gonna allow the user to update the role. So we're actually also not gonna add subscriptions active till, because it's not allowed to do that as well. But it is allowed to call my courses, but we're actually not gonna call my courses in this case, because they are actually not updating that themselves. Okay. Then you have bio is gonna be bio. Yeah, so we can actually add bio of string. Completed courses, we're actually gonna add a different initializer for that. And after this, we're actually gonna call created add of type date. And we're gonna call updated add type date. Okay, then self.name equal to name, self dot last name is equal to last name, equal to username, self dot email equal to email, self dot password is equal to password, self dot city equal to of city, self.postal code is equal to postal code, self.address equal to address, self.country equal to country, self.bio equal to bio, self.created add equal to created add, and self.updated add, updated add is equal to updated add. Okay, so now we have two initializers, one for creation, one for updating, and we have to add two more. So we're actually going to do init. And this was the one, subscription is active till. Subscription is active till. This is gonna be type date. Then self dot active till equal to subscription is active till. I'm gonna add another one. Oh, in it. And this one is actually gonna be the my courses. So my courses is gonna be of type UUID, just like this. Okay, then we need one more in it. And this is actually going to be completed courses, I think. Completed courses. And this is going to be also an array of UUID. Question mark. And in here, self.mycourses equal to my courses. And in here, self.completed courses is equal to completed courses. Okay, so the reason why we actually put these three in different initializers is actually to make sure that the user can't update them themselves, okay? Because we actually don't allow them to update the subscription is active till. They are not allowed to update my courses themselves because they actually have to click on a button. So when they are at the course, they click like start course. And at that moment when they start a course, it's actually going to be updated. So we actually don't allow them to add courses themselves through some hacks or something. And that's the same for completed courses. And okay, that looks nice. But there's one more thing we need. So we're going to do static var user image. So maybe a user actually wants to show their face. They can actually use it. They can actually do that. Okay. So let's also add that one over here. Add optional field. Field keys dot user image var user image. Gonna be of type. Yeah, we could do type string actually, because we're actually gonna post the URL anyway. But we could also do like URL, just like this. We could actually do this as well. This would actually be safer, but we have to paste in the URL as a string anyway, or a string as a URL. So we can actually do it like this. And then we're gonna add it to the... I'm not gonna add it to the update function because we're actually gonna add a different kind of system for this. Because we actually have to upload it. So what we can do, init, user image. This is gonna be of type URL. Wait, did we make it an optional? Yeah, we did. Then open this one up. Self.user image equal to user image. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We finished our first model. It took us a little while because I'm explaining a lot actually. But I'm actually really happy with how far we are now. And I think we're gonna end this video here. This is actually a really nice start of the model system, or actually of our first model. In the next video, we're actually gonna start working on our course model and the guide model, and the field keys as well, of course. So yeah, we actually did a lot in this video, and this is actually really cool. So I hope you guys understand a little bit why I code the way how I code. That you understand why we use different kinds of initializers. This actually allows us to call like one initializer for creating, one for updating the subscription is active. So this is actually something that's going to be updated by Stripe, for example. My courses, for example, completed course and the user image. And now I'm thinking about it, we can actually add one more initializer before we're going to end the video. We're actually going to call this role. This is going to be role enum dot raw value. Open this one up. Self.role equal to role. So we're also going to have a separate system that's actually going to update the role when the user subscribes, or when the user desubscribes or unsubscribes. And we also want to like look if admins can actually do that by hand if we need to. So yeah, this looks actually pretty nice. Really nice code. Good job for finishing the first coding video. There are going to be a lot of more coding videos on the way. So if you guys actually enjoyed this video, please give me a like and a subscribe. And help me to share this resources, help me to grow the YouTube channel, so that we can actually show other people how to build an API using Swift. Okay? So thank you for watching, and I see you next time.